Yo, Wagwan, it's your boy, brother Noomse. This is the Sports Time Zone podcast, the only sports show that gives you two different generations, eras, and takes on sports. Yours truly, brother Noomse, alongside my man TZD in the building. What's good with you, Time Zone?
What's happening? Noomsy, what's good with you?
We in here, you know how we do it every week, every Monday about this time. Make sure all of y'all who's watching, make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, continue to show that love for your boy, brother Noomsi out of the 305 and TZD representing that 313. We in here, we got another fire show. No doubt, man. It's been a couple of weeks. We took a week off from the All-Star weekend, and then we just came back. We ain't really got too much to say about it. You got any comments you want to make about the All-Star game before we even get started?
I just want to say it was that time. If you know, you know. It was that time. you know. That's one thing I'm happy about.
Dame time, most definitely. We got a shout out, salute to Dame Dollar, Dame Lillard for winning the All-Star MVP, also cleaning up at the 3-point shootout. Also, real quick, before we get any further into it, I do want to send a special salute and shout out to KE Creations for putting together this special Black History Month Miami Heat t-shirt for y'all out there who don't get to see it. It say Black Excellence right there. It's still a couple of days left of Black History Month, so we gonna represent. Time Zone Dave, they cooking up something special for you right now. So you got yours coming. Trust me, yours is coming.
Okay.
I looked at the design. I was like, man, I'm kind of jealous. That one looked that kind of looked kind of fire. But yeah, we gonna get Time Zone Dave tightened up too. So we got something in the works. So salute to KE Creations for hooking that up. Also salute to goodlifeclothing.com. For anybody who's looking for a Black-owned small business, independent clothing line, that's your boy. Holla at my man Joe Leo. You see the website down there. Also, Gene Hennigan, salute to you, Gene, and anybody else who's looking for any graphic designs that they want to put on the logo or they want to put on a computer screen, anything like that. My man Gene Hennigan, he got you on all of that too. So, yeah, man, getting into the show today, we got a really, really good show. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about Jacques Vaughn getting released from the Brooklyn Nets. A lot of people saw that coming. We also going to talk about the Heat and the Pelicans having that little scuffle and a rumble. Want to see how we get down out there with them hands. Some 305 boys was out there with them 504 boys in the NO.
You better stop trying Jimmy Butler.
They going to learn about trying Jimmy.
Every time.
Every single time. So we're going to get into that. We also going to talk about Dame Dollar a little bit, Dame Lillard from your Milwaukee Bucks. We also got a little Klay Thompson update going on and some struggles that the Lakers have been having lately. So we got quite a few different topics that we're going to dive into. First things first, though, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Brooklyn with Jacques Vaughn being fired from the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I will admit, Jacques Vaughn, he over the course of 3 years, off and on, he's been the coach there. He has an overall record over them 3 years of 71 and 68. But this season, those boys was looking kind of bad. 21 and 33 was their record this season. He got fired and now replaced by Kevin Ollie. You were mentioning before the show that you kind of saw this coming. This ain't no surprise to you, I take it. You're not surprised that Jacques Vaughn got fired from Brooklyn. What's your thoughts?
I tend to have a feeling about these coaches. Like, I actually see what's going on. So, like, I can just tell when somebody was going to get fired or, like, when they're not going to last as long.
Yeah, it seemed like the writing was on the wall for a long time with Jacques Vaughn in Brooklyn. And to me, it felt like that job was kind of a setup, though. Like, because when you look at the roster they have and the talent that they have on that, they don't really have much talent on that team. And it seems like they were handicapped. If you look back on their roster, like just say, like, was it 2 or 3 years ago? They had guys like KD, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan on that very team. So what happened? What went wrong with the plan that they had 2-3 years ago versus where they stand right now? How did we get here from there to here?
Well, back then with that roster with KD and them boys, it was Steve Nash at the helm. So he was their coach, and Jack Vaughn was the assistant.
Right, that's
But
right.
Steve Nash was lacking on defense, and then the players were really feeling them. So then they got him out of here when they finally lost in the playoffs to the Bucks.
I knew he was gonna mention that. He had to throw that in there.
He got out of there, so it was time for that.
Yeah, some people say that the players kind of sabotaged. I don't know if it was who was the first one to jump ship. Was it Durant, or was it KD, or was it Kyrie? Because once one of them left, it seemed like
it was Harden was the first one to leave.
Okay, so Harden was the first one to chunk the deuce, and once Harden was out of there, it's like it was a domino effect. Then Kyrie left. Then Kyrie got out of there. Then next thing you know, Kevin Durant, he opted into his deal, re-signed, and then asked to be traded immediately after re-signing. So it's almost like he wanted to get that money in the bag first. And then once he got
really wanted to re-sign because his relationship with Kyrie, that's why he was about to stay with them. But then once Kyrie left, he's like, there's no point. Because who want to be there with Ben Simmons? Ben Simmons ain't played all year. He just sitting on the bench. Like, that's not a good look. So I'm gonna check up the deuces too and get on somewhere.
Hey, Ben Simmons out here committing highway robbery, boy. Like, hey, Ben Simmons is getting paid to chill. Like,
for real.
I don't remember a full game that Ben Simmons played. And then when you had that kind of talent around you, maybe that was part of Ben Simmons' issue, because before all of that, you know, they had all of those big name players. I don't remember Ben Simmons having that issue of he not wanting to play. I mean, Ben, for like his first couple of years, he looked like a promising young player. But then all of a sudden, once they start surrounding him with all this talent and the expectations are higher now they expect you to now all of a sudden, you know, he don't want to play. You know, he's having mental issues. He's got anxiety. His back hurt. You know, all of these different things that happen with Ben Simmons. And I personally think it's just because the expectations got higher and that's when he shrunk a little bit.
Yeah, that's part of it. And also this confidence. His confidence was gone. Like you look back in when he was in Philly that last year, that playoff run, he couldn't do nothing. He was just passing the ball. And then he was like, I'm ready to leave. And all them problems with Embiid, whatever that claimed to be. So I feel like that kind of took his confidence. He got to Brooklyn and then he translate.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I don't know, honestly, has he played at all this year? At all?
Yes. First off, he didn't play like the first like 30, 35 games, like 40 games before All-Star. Then he finally play like 1 or 2 games, ain't doing nothing. And then he gets hurt. It doesn't play for like a week straight, and then he come back. And then he back on the bench.
What is that? And then
like, it's no consistency with him right now at all.
Yeah, none at all. I mean, I wish I could get paid to do absolutely nothing. I mean, I don't know who's signing the checks up there in Brooklyn or why he's even still on the roster, but I get they got to pay him, so they can't just release him. And then trying to find somebody to trade for him, good luck with that. But
because nobody won't want him.
Yeah, it just seems like Jacques Vaughn was put in a real tight situation. He was put in a rough situation that I don't think anybody would really desire to be in. Now Kevin Ollie, who is his assistant, is now stepping in as the interim head coach. And have mercy on his soul, because of course, he's going to make it through the season. They're not going to, fire him, and we only got like half of the season left. So they're going to let Kevin Ollie play out the rest of this season. But come this summer,
I don't know. They're going to go into free agency. Look at them coaches.
They're going to have to. But who's going to want? That is the most undesirable job right now. Like, who wants to coach Ben Simmons? Who want to coach a team that got Ben Simmons on it? And I think if a coach does come in and take over, their first order of business is going to be to try to move him. Like, at least that would be my first order of business, unless for some reason he convinces me that he's willing to play. But I haven't seen that happen yet, in quite some time. So, Jacques Vaughn, salute to you, brother. I felt like you did a pretty decent job. You have a winning record overall as a coach in Brooklyn this year. Not so much, but overall, I think you did enough to warrant another team giving you an opportunity. I just hope it's a team that has a little bit more promise than the team that you just left from. So, Jacques Vaughn,
I think he'll be back around soon.
I agree.
Even if he's not a head coach, I could see him being an assistant somewhere. He'll still be around.
I could see that too.
Around next year.
You've been pretty spot on with your coaching calls, and whenever it comes to a coach,
I see it. I just know, because coaching plays a part, and I can just tell when the rhythm off, the flow off, like the players don't believe in their coach. Like it's a combination of both the players and the coach. So if it's just the players and then they not feeling the coach, or the coach ain't feeling the players, it's not gonna match together. And then by that time, you out of here.
It's peace and deuces out there. So yeah, man, I gotta give you your props on that when it comes to the coaching situation. Moving on to our next topic. This is something that's a little bit close to heart for me, because I actually watched a piece of this game.
Tell me how you feel. Let it out.
I'm gonna let
Jimmy Butler out.
Trust me, I'm about to let it out here.
Retaliation. What's going on?
During the Miami Heat's win, I gotta stress that during the win versus the New Orleans Pelicans, Kevin Love gave a wrap-up foul, a hard wrap-up foul to Zion. Zion went to the ground. Zion's teammate, Najee Marshall, shoved Kevin Love out of retaliation for wrapping up Zion and putting him on the ground. Jimmy, who's in the same vicinity, sees this, and then he nudges Najee. Najee immediately went for Jimmy Butler's throat.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, straight for it.
He went for his neck, and then the benches cleared. I don't know if blows were actually thrown. It was just wild. When the smoke cleared, there was some suspensions. Thomas Bryant from the Miami Heat got suspended. Nikola Jovic got suspended. Jimmy Butler got suspended, all for one game. On the New Orleans Pelicans side, Alvarado got suspended, and then Najee Marshall got suspended as well. Man, I'm just going to say this. When I look back at the footage, and I know you said you were looking back at it a few times earlier today too. In my opinion, and I'm not just being modest, I'm not just being biased because I'm a Miami Heat fan, but Jimmy Butler should not have been suspended. I mean, all he really did was give a slight nudge to the player who just shoved his teammate. There was no punch, there was no wind up. There was no haymakers being thrown. There was no contact above the neck and head area. There was none of that. It was literally a shove back, but then a choke. If anybody should have been suspended, it should have been Najee Marshall. How he only ended up getting one game when you choke a player, that is beyond me. I have no idea what is Adam Silver trying to do. What is the NBA trying to do and what they're trying to prove or what their agenda is? I don't know. But in my mind, they did not get this one right. The NBA has been suspending players too easily. Like, they just need to show if there's any kind of scuffle or any kind of violence, They need to come down with some kind of hammer and show that, oh, we're the big brother. We have the right to and the authority to suspend whoever we want. I understand the people who came off the bench. We don't want people coming off the bench getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
But in cases like this, there was no punches really thrown. The only, like I said, the only action that I saw that warranted a suspension or even a heavier suspension was Najee Marshall for putting his hands around Jimmy Butler's neck. Now, that is not, I don't know if it's because the media and the league just don't like Miami, so they just let things like that happen. But let that have been, I don't know, Luka Doncic. Let's say Jimmy was Luka and somebody choked Luka or Nikola Jokic. I guarantee you they would have got more than one game. I guarantee you it's because it's Jimmy Butler. He has this persona of being a tough guy. It's the Miami Heat. We have that Heat culture and that tough mentality. So I think that played a factor into why the punishment was so lenient towards Najee, but so hard against Jimmy and the Heat players. When you looked at that, what did you see when you watched that? I know you mentioned you knew there was a suspension coming, but based on your own eye test, what did you see in terms of did the league get it right or what should have happened in your eyes?
I feel like suspension is like is right because the league just doesn't go for that. Whoever's a part of it is gonna get suspended. My thing is, I'm surprised nobody got fined because usually they put the fines right after suspension.
Yes,
and I didn't see no fines and for none of the players, none of the teams. So that was surprising to me.
Yeah, nobody lost money other than their game check that they gonna miss. You know, that's probably the only fine that they gonna get. That's crazy.
It's only one game.
Yeah, it's only one game. It's not the end of the world. It is just one game. It's easy for me and you to say, oh, it's just one game. But for Jimmy, one game check is way more than Najee Marshall's one game check. So in some cases, yeah, it's one game, but that one game don't hit the same for everybody.
Yeah.
Us having one game without our best player and for him losing that much money for missing that game is not the same as the Pelicans losing two role players for one game that they probably won't even notice that they missing from the game. You know, so in that case, I get it. And also another thing that I noticed, a fan in New Orleans actually threw something from the stands during the scuffle. While the scuffle was going on, there was a fan who threw something. I don't know if it was a soda. I don't know if it was a whatever it was. It was an object because they showed it and they showed it in slow motion. It was an object, but that fan was not escorted out of the arena. That fan was allowed to still sit there and watch the rest of the game. And league, if y'all are really trying to do things to protect the players and make the game safer, you from Detroit. So you remember the malice. I don't know if you remember it, but you know about the malice in the palace.
Mm-hmm.
And what started that? A fan throwing something on Ron Artest.
That was crazy.
That was still to this day the craziest brawl that I've ever seen in a sporting event. And that's something that the league is trying. So because ever since then, that's when all of these hard penalties started coming down. That's when they started suspending people for the slightest thing. That's when they upgraded flagrant ones to flagrant twos. That's when now all of a sudden, you get so many technical fouls and now you suspended. All of that didn't exist before that malice in the palace. So if the league is trying to be consistent, then they should have did something about that fan for throwing something over onto that little scuffle. That's just my opinion on that. But all in all, we got a game to play tonight. My Heat against the Sacramento Kings with no Jimmy Butler, without Jovic, and then again without Thomas Bryant. So this is going to be a tall order. I mean, we're one of the best teams at next man up mentality. We have probably one of the better benches in the league, but this is going to be it's going to be a really tough game. So I hope y'all Pelican fans are happy. I hope y'all got what y'all wanted out of that little scuffle. That's some bullshit. If you ask me, I still feel like that's some bullshit. But it is what it is, and the league had to make their call, and they did what they felt was best to do. So Time Zone Dave feels like the league got it right. I feel like they got it wrong, but it is what it is, and it's all over. So now we're gonna move into our next topic, and I've been waiting to talk to you about this one. I've been waiting all weekend to talk to you about this one. There was a list circulating around the NBA that Dame Lillard, Dame Dollar had put together for his top five or best five NBA five roster that he could come up with. And this list might surprise you. It didn't surprise me, but it might surprise you. But on this list of Dame Dollar's top five NBA players right now, he names himself, of course, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Bam Adebayo.
Bam is crazy.
Yo, if that don't sound like somebody who still wishes they was in Miami instead of Milwaukee. Yo,
I don't think that means anything.
You don't think that means nothing? You think? Let me ask you this: do you think Giannis thinks that means anything?
No.
Giannis has one of the biggest egos, and he's a very prideful person. So you don't think that rubbed him the wrong way at all? You don't even have a second thought about it?
No. He don't care.
Well, of course, I feel like, of course you're going to say that because, you're a Bucks fan. But just looking from the outside, just think about it. How are you going to play for one of the greatest players that's in the league right now, and you're his teammate, and when asked who's your starting five, you don't even mention him? Like that, I'm going to put it in a little bit more perspective. To me, in my opinion, just me watching, even as well as Milwaukee has been playing, it don't look like Dame and Giannis are always on the same page. I see a lot of, okay, who's gonna take this shot at the end of the game? Whose hands should the ball be in? I don't really see Dame being as fluid in the offense. I see him running a lot of ISO. I see him playing a lot of ISO ball. I don't see him really being a part of the offense and moving the ball and getting it around. I felt like this list that he made was a microcosm of that. In my mind, a Miami Heat fan, they don't want to be in Milwaukee. He's there because he have to be there. But he would really rather be in Miami where he's the man traded to.
Sir. He do not want to be in Miami.
What?
he see what's going on. He peeping
all summer long. All summer long. That's all he said he wanted. He said he wanted to be
actually went to the right place.
Then why he don't look happy?
Milwaukee was the right place all along.
So Dame look happy to you? He looks happy.
He's starting to.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm gonna give it to the end of the season because we're only halfway through the season right now. But I tell you one thing though, if y'all don't win this championship, if this was a wasted year, and he's not going to be too happy at the end of the season because he could have stayed in Portland to not win a championship. So I think that puts more.
It takes time. So even if they don't win this year, they're going to win next year for sure. So it just they got to keep building. We're getting there. I feel like we can still win it this year though for sure.
It would be so nice if we knock y'all off in the playoffs just so
y'all ain't even gonna see us. Y'all ain't even gonna see us.
Y'all said that last year. Like we wasn't even supposed to be.
That was just weird.
We beat y'all in 5 games, man. We beat y'all in 5. That's a gentleman's sweep. So I don't know. I say personally, I think had Tyler Hero not gotten hurt in that series, we might have swept y'all. We might have swept y'all boys. But this is a new season. This is a different era. It's just a whole different slate. It's a clean slate. So all of that stuff don't matter. Anything from last year is last year's noise. So we're done with that. We can't continue to harp on that. But I did think it was interesting that Dame did not even include Giannis at all in his top 5 players. You think that means absolutely nothing. I think that it means a lot, that there's a lot to it. But we're going to see as the season develops and as we get into the postseason, what the chemistry is like between them two, Giannis and Dame, and also what the chemistry is just with the Milwaukee team overall. So that's something that we got to keep our eyes on. Moving on to the next topic, running through these kind of quick. So we got Klay Thompson has been moved by Steve Kerr from the starting lineup to the bench of Golden State. However, ever since being moved to the bench, Klay Thompson has been playing a lot better. He scored 23, 13, 3, and 35. Those were his scoring point. Those were his numbers for his last 4 games. So that's an average of around 19, 20 points a game that he's averaging coming off the bench, which is actually much better than his earlier numbers as a starter. How do you feel about that move, sending Klay to the bench? How does that resonate with the younger generation? How you feeling that?
I feel like it's giving the Warriors more free offense. Their offense more freely, knowing that they have Klay coming off the bench, so that there's more spacing on the floor for Steph. That also gives Klay kind of more confidence to get his shot going and to get his defense going and stuff like that. I also feel like it won't be long that he'll be on the bench. I say about playoffs, end of the year, he'll be back in the starting lineup.
So you think that Steve Kerr, even if Klay is playing so much better coming off the bench, and Kuminga has been asserting himself in that starting lineup, but you still feel like at some point of this season, Steve Kerr is going to make the switch to put Klay back into the starting lineup?
Yep, he did the same thing with Wiggins. When Wiggins wasn't playing good, but Wiggins off the bench. Wiggins got back in that rhythm, started playing better. Now he's back in the lineup.
Who is that 2 guard, that left-handed 2 guard?
Podziemski, my boy Podziemski is nice.
Hey, he is nice. I ain't even going.
That's why I'm not mad he's starting right now, because I get it. But he will probably go back to the bench when playoffs start. But if he doesn't, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, he's nice. I think that's what made Steve Kerr's decision to move Klay to the bench a lot easier, is because what's his name, Podziemski, he has been playing so well that it made Steve Kerr look like a genius for doing that. So
yeah,
because I was watching the game the other night and my man was on fire. Like, he was knocking down some pretty tough shots, and he's got the quickness. He's got the ball handling ability. I don't know too much about his defensive play, about how well he is on defense, because I haven't really watched him defensively that much. I don't think he's a Klay Thompson on defense. I definitely don't think that, but I still think that he's good enough to warrant being in that starting rotation. So I don't think he'll have an issue with going back to the bench. If Steve Kerr elects to switch it back, I don't think that'll be much of an issue for him, because he's just happy to be.
One thing why I feel like Steve Kerr made that switch, because Podziemski can handle the ball, so that gives Steph more off-ball action where he can run around and not have to handle the ball. So he's really making him and Draymond the 2 main ball handlers right now, just to get Steph more
free up Steph a little bit more. That's a good point, because Klay Thompson was kind of limited in that regard. Klay Thompson is not really much of a ball handler. I'm not saying he can't handle the ball, but that's not really his game. Klay Thompson plays much better off the ball. He plays much better coming off of screens, like, Reggie Miller style, where Reggie would just come off of skirt curls and pick and rolls and screens. And I tell you, and a side note here on this, Reggie Miller would run around like 5 or 6 screens. Like, it was crazy watching. If y'all at home, the younger generation who never had a chance to watch Reggie, you'll see a lot of Reggie in Klay Thompson. Reggie Miller, his entire game was making you chase him through screens. He would run through a back screen, then he would go down the baseline, and then he would run you directly into his center, and then the center would screen you. Then Reggie would come off the wing, and then the small forward would screen for him. Then he'd make his way all the way back to the top of the circle where he gets one last screen and he's wide open. For a defender to have to defend that type of a player, that is tough. So Klay Thompson is in that same light as Reggie, where he can come off of screens, he can get off the ball, he can do all of these things off the ball to tire you out and wear you out. And by the time you are there in his face, he's already released the ball, and it's money, in your face. So
I got a question for you. Who you think is a better shooter, Klay or Reggie Miller?
I knew you was gonna ask me that. Oh man. Just shooting. Just
shooting. Because Reggie Miller ain't played defense as much as Klay.
He wasn't a defensive player like that. But I'll say this: I'm gonna go Reggie, and the reason I'm gonna go Reggie is because Reggie Miller hit more. His ability to make clutch shots. Klay's a great shooter, but Reggie Miller was a great shooter in big moments. Mm-hmm. Reggie would hit threes during the most critical moment of the game, where the game was on the line, where you needed a three just to tie or needed a three to win. Reggie would be the one to count on for those. Free throws, he was automatic. Klay Thompson is almost automatic from the free throw line. It's like splitting hairs, but I'm still going to take Reggie Miller because of his ability to make clutch shots. Klay can shoot the ball, but Reggie under pressure is the better shooter under pressure. So I'm
going out there dropping in the comments. I want to know who y'all picking between Reggie Miller and Klay Thompson.
That's a good one.
I'm going Klay.
That's a good. You gonna go Klay? I mean,
I can't drop 60. When Klay get hot, it's a different story. When he hot.
That's true, but Klay Thompson has never scored like 9 points in like 4 seconds like Reggie did. And Reggie
ain't never dropped 60.
What? True. Reggie
in never 3/4.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But can you think of any memorable shot that Klay Thompson made to win a game or to advance his team to a next round? Klay Thompson makes shots, but I'm talking about the shot that's going to either win you a game or take you to the next round. Reggie has numbers of those. I don't think Klay has one. And it might be because he got Steph on his team, but that's not his. I don't want to take nothing from him, but yeah, y'all drop it in the comments. For all of y'all who watching, who do y'all think is the better shooter, Reggie Miller or Klay Thompson? And don't come in there posting stats and numbers. And Reggie Miller, his percentage from this is that, and Klay's no, I don't want that. I don't want the numbers. I just want for people who saw both of them play, drop it in the comments on who y'all think was a better shooter. TZD, he got Klay Thompson. I got Reggie. When we come back next week, we're gonna look at those comments and see who sided with who more. So that's an interesting one. Good one, Time Zone. That was a real good one. But yeah, so getting back to that, Klay Thompson is looking really good coming off the bench. I like what Steve Kerr is doing with him. It's kind of igniting his confidence back. It's getting him back into his mojo, and it gives that second unit some punch. It gives the second unit a clear go-to guy, because that second unit really didn't have a definite go-to guy. So now with Klay Thompson being on the bench, I think that helps them a lot with that. So salute to Klay, and also salute to Steve Kerr. And Steve Kerr just got a new contract, by the way.
Ooh, I was just about to say, shout out Curry, got that bag. He is the highest paid coach in NBA history. He's got that extra 2 years for that $45 million.
Ooh, guapola.
Yeah, get that bag, Kerr.
Hey, Kerr is eating. I mean, first it was Coach Spo who just got, he got niced up by Miami, but now Steve Kerr, man, he just one-upped him, and they just gave him the guapola. So this is definitely the season to be a coach. This is the season to be a coach. What Monty Williams making some ridiculous amount of money, and he only won like 3 games all year. So like it's this is definitely the year to be a coach. So salute to Steve Kerr and that big bag that he got. Moving on to our next topic, the Los Angeles Lakers, who we talked a little bit about in our the last episode that we had. The Lakers right now are teetering in that that play-in spot. They keep bouncing between 8, 9, and 10. Well, they just lost a game last night to the Phoenix Suns, and that dropped them to the number 9 seed in the Western Conference. Now, they didn't really make any huge deals during the trade deadline. And that's something that LeBron is known for. Any team that he plays for, he makes sure that they do something at the trade deadline to kind of get the team back into a better place. But there was no trades that were made at all over the course, nothing at all. So from what I saw, the Lakers look a little bit top heavy. They're relying a lot on LeBron. They're relying a lot on AD, Austin Reeves. Their starting lineup overall, but their bench hasn't really done much of anything. You know, when I look at the Lakers bench, I don't really see much that they can contribute. But what's your thoughts? I know we talked a little bit about them before, but are you still feeling the same way about the Lakers as before? Do you see them still staying locked into that play-in, or do you think they can get it together and slide into a top 6 spot? That's going to be tough, but I don't know. Do you see that happening?
No, I see them around 9 in the play-in, basically. So even if you 8, 9, and 10, it really don't matter yet until you advance to really see if you're going to be 7 or 8.
Right. Exactly. Because really, like, nothing after 7 really matters, to be honest. Even though, yeah, you still get a chance to get in, but your reward for winning the play-in is getting the number 1 seed. You got to play against the number 1 seed in the first round. And unless you're the Miami Heat like us, you're not beating the number 1 seed in the first round.
Things in the West right now are very tight. For them, every game matters. You lose, you dropping that next day quick.
The Lakers should be worried, though, man, because I'm looking at the numbers from that game against Phoenix. And this is the starting lineup. Anthony Davis, 22 points. Rui Hachimura, 13 points. Hachimura, no disrespect, Rudy Hachimura. LeBron James, 28 points. D'Angelo Russell, 20 points. Austin Reeves, 14 points. So basically, that's their starting 5. Everybody in their starting 5 was in double digits. Their bench, as an entire bench, scored 16 points. The entire bench. 8 points for Taurean Prince, 2 points for Jackson Hayes, 3 points for Spencer Dinwiddie, and 3 points for Christie. They're not going to make it. Like, yo, if you expect to have any kind of aspirations to getting deep in the playoffs, your bench is going to have to be better than that. And in the words of LeBron James himself a couple of years ago, they top heavy as hell. They top heavy. They got all of the talent in the world at the top of their roster in the starting lineup, but on the back end, they don't really have much of anything. Taurean Prince is not going to get it. Spencer Dinwiddie, that is one move that they did make. They did make the Spencer Dinwiddie move, but I don't think that's not really moving the needle to me.
And that was late. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was just like by the way, let's go ahead and grab, Cam Reddish is out right now with an ankle sprain. So when I look at that roster, I just see that the starting lineup has too much responsibility. Like, there's just too much on the starting lineup. They have to perform at this level every single week. And look, the whole starting lineup was in double figures, and they still lost by 10. LeBron gives you 28, 12, and 7. Damn near a triple-double, and you still lose by 10. AD gives you 22 and 14, a double-double, and you still lose by 10. I would be worried if I'm the Lakers. And I know it's just halfway through the season, And I get all of that, but when you look at the standings and where the Lakers are, and in that cluster fuck that's at the bottom of the Western playoff bracket,
Very tight.
that's really, really tight. The margin for error is not really that great, especially when you got Golden State breathing down your neck when they're starting to pick up steam and starting to find their way. So again, that bottom portion of the play-in is looking like Dallas at number 8. Right now, the Lakers at 9, Golden State at 10. And then, of course, Utah pulling up the rear at 11. I don't really see that too much being a factor. But the Lakers, they can very easily slip out of the play-in altogether. With those teams that I named, the Lakers are the most unimpressive of that group of teams. Everybody else that I mentioned is kind of getting hot, and they're starting to catch a little fire. But the Lakers, they're not looking too good right now with the way things are going. So me personally, I think since they are kind of stuck with the team that they have, Darvin Ham needs to just roll out a roster or a rotation that he's going to stick with. All of this tampering and experimenting with this lineup and that lineup, that is not going to work out. So it's best at this point, because for me, I think Darvin Ham already getting fired at the end of this year. I know you have a good premonition about coaches and all that, but I'm telling you, I think this is his last year, and he's going to be out. So at this point, if you going out, you might as well go out and stand on business. Put a roster lineup out there and be like, this is my lineup. I'm going to live and die with this lineup for the rest of the season. I don't care, whatever. I'm just going to stick with it. We need some consistency.
That was one thing we talked about the last couple episodes, how his rotations weren't consistent. He was switching the lineup or switching who he brought off the bench, and it hasn't really matched well.
It has not at all. And that's that, to your point, because that is the point that you made when we were talking about the Lakers. You did mention the fact that there's no consistency with their lineups, and he keeps interchanging the stuff and bringing them in and out. And personally, I think it's getting frustrating to Laker fans. It's getting frustrating to LeBron, who he's still like, for the life of me, I don't understand how he's still putting up these kind of numbers at this stage of his career. But I know he got to feel like it's wasted. Like, you putting up these kind of numbers and y'all are barely a playing team right now. And it's just going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough for them boys to dig themselves out of this. But again, if I'm Darvin Ham, I just go ahead and roll with whatever I feel is the best possible solution for my team to win. Don't listen to nobody else. Just do what you said you wanted to do, or what you want to do.
And they're probably missing like about 2 players. Cam Reddish and Vanderbilt are really only players like that play. So they're missing them 2 for sure.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you on that. So we're going to keep our eye on this Laker team, because a lot of people will be hitting us in the comments are Laker fans. So, and I don't want no smoke with no Laker fans that's over there in the building over there with you either. I want no smoke. So we're going to keep up with the Lakers, and we're going to make sure that we do them their diligence and just give them the best possible advice or tips or whatever.
I can't wait for this play. It's because my team, my West team, we're going to play in. So
definitely.
It's very shaky right now.
That playing in the West is going to be a doozy. That's going to be a crazy play-in. Like, when I was naming those teams again in the West, those teams like Golden State, the Lakers, Dallas, New Orleans, those right now would be the 4 play-in teams. Can you imagine a play-in tournament with New Orleans against Golden State, Dallas versus the Lakers? Like, oh, this is going to be fire. I can't wait. I'm with you on this one. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be dope. It's going to be really dope. So y'all lay around for it and keep your eyes open for those 4 bottom teams in the West to watch how they move over the course of the next week. And when we retouch on that again, we'll be able to update it. One thing also before we go into our history moment and our 2-minute drill, I wanted to touch on one controversial piece of news that came out of All-Star Weekend. As I was watching it, I know you mentioned you didn't really hear the comments being made, but when I was watching the All-Star Weekend and during the shootout between Steph and Sabrina, Kenny Smith, he said that Sabrina, to make it fair, should be shooting from the women's 3-point line. Saying also that even in golf, there's a women's tee and then there's a men's tee. In women's basketball, women have a smaller ball and their 3-point line is closer than the men. So his argument was, well, why should Steph have the advantage in making her shoot from the men's line instead of letting her shoot from the women's line? Now, when this comment came out, a lot of ladies got at Kenny Smith. Like, they were online. I seen Twitter comments. I seen Instagram. Like, they calling him just, archaic and, he's a caveman. He needs to get with today's society. And he wants women to be in the kitchen and don't think women can do. I personally, look, I have the greatest love for women, and we got a lot of ladies that watch the show, so I'm definitely very respectful and understanding and compromising to the ladies that watch and the ladies in the world, period. But I don't see anything wrong with what Kenny said. I don't really feel like he meant it in a sexist way or in a disrespectful way. To me, it just seemed like he was making the point of, okay, if we have these accommodations already in place for the ladies, why wasn't she offered these same accommodations in competing against Steph? And that's how I took it when he said that. And you made a really good point also earlier when you said, okay, well, why not just let Steph shoot from the women's line?
I feel that's just too easy, though.
Yeah.
That's just too easy for him. So, that kind of doesn't do nothing for him, but just make it worse for her.
It would. It definitely would. And it wouldn't be fair. And in her defense, even with her shooting from the men's 3-point line, she still gave Steph all he could handle in that competition. I think she scored 26 points in that first. She cleared out the first rack. Almost cleared out the second rack, and then she was off to the races. Like, it was at one point I didn't think she was gonna miss. Like, she was hitting them, she was dropping them, and you could see Steph's face while she was shooting. When they put the camera on Steph, he started off smiling like, yeah, I got this. But then when she started making them, his smile went from like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna have to shoot. Now I have to. So he knew he was gonna have to come with it. He thought maybe he was just gonna be able to come out there, do the casual Steph Curry thing, not even really try much, have his mouthpiece hanging out the side. But nah, when Stephanie, when she made those shots, I'm sorry, Sabrina, when Sabrina was making all of those shots, he knew he had to lock in. And to me, that was the best part of the All-Star Weekend, was that shootout. Every other part of that was kind of horrible. But I
always like 3-point contest.
Well, the 3-point contest was really good too. I mean, obviously you're gonna say that because your guy won, So
just overall though, even I watch it every year, so and I feel like they should move it to being last because that's pretty much the best event unless we get some better names in the dunk contest. But we ain't gotta talk about all that.
Yeah, I agree with you. The 3-point contest, that is the one event in the All-Star Weekend that everybody who's participating, they are trying to win. Like, they are putting forth. A shooter is not going to fake his shot. He's going to shoot that for real. They're trying to make those shots and they're trying to win. The dunk contest is just like, I'm just out.
That's what the fans want too. The fans like to see people. They want to see people shoot.
They want to see,
they like shooting. So
that's what we come out there to see. We come out there for the shooting. We come out there to watch our favorite players, the best players in the league, do what they do best. And in this case, the shooting or the 3-point competition is what they do. But again, that wasn't really, I mean, the All-Star weekend isn't really even worth talking about because it was so horrific and it was so horrible this last go round that yours truly and Time Zone Dave just decided that we're not even going to do a segment on the All-Star weekend. We're not even going to go into it. All I can say is I hope the league does something to make it more entertaining going forward. So that's all I really got for All-Star weekend. But
my All-Star recap, I just say it was that time.
It was that Dame time.
It was that time. That's all.
Congratulations to Damian Lillard for winning the 3-point contest. Congratulations to Steph Curry for winning his shootout. The dunk contest was so whack. I don't remember who won. What was it? A little short white boy. What was his name? Who won?
McClung. Shout out to McClung. No, he got bunnies for real.
Yeah, he got hops. He can get up. He can get up. So salute to him. Shout out. He did give us something to be entertained about, but that was pretty much it. So salute there. All right. History moment of the week. The history moment of the day. You know, I always got something. Your boy, brother, I know him say is in here with the history moment. On this day.
Okay.
On this very day. In 1987.
I wasn't alive.
You wasn't born yet, and I was like, yay high. But on this day, at age 24, Michael Jeffrey Jordan dropped 58 points against the New Jersey Nets. This being Michael Jordan's second ever NBA season. His second season, he drops 58 points on the New Jersey Nets. He then goes on later on in that season to go to the playoffs against Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics, and he drops 63 in the playoffs on the Celtics in just his second year in the NBA. At that time, those 58 points was the Chicago Bulls record. Mm-hmm. He, of course, broke that record later on. But for him to break that record at age 24 in 1987 on this very day, we had to give him a salute and a shout out on the Sports Time Zone for making the history moment. This is Black History Month, of course. So salute to the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the best basketball player that I've ever seen lace him up, and the best basketball player that you've never seen lace him up, TZD. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, salute to you in that history moment of the week. Yeah, he's the GOAT. He still is, and I got to give it to him for being the GOAT that he is. And it's very rare that we see someone like Jordan who is transcendent over various different eras and different generations, that multiple generations still hold him as the GOAT. Multiple. But of course, you know, there's a lot of LeBron fans out nowadays that say LeBron is the GOAT. There's going to be fans after LeBron retires that may say Giannis is the GOAT. They may say Steph. They may make cases for all kind of people, but the one person who's always in every GOAT conversation is Michael Jordan, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So salute to you, Jordan. All right, now getting into our 2-minute drill. We're going to run through these upcoming NBA games. I'm going to throw the matchup out there. TZD is going to give us his pick. I'll give mine, and we're going to go straight down the line. Starting with a game that's about to tip off any moment now, Toronto Raptors at the Indiana Pacers. Who you got?
Pacers.
I got Indiana on that one too. Detroit Pistons on the road at the New York Knicks. Who you got?
Knicks.
Don't nobody. You know what?
It's just too tough right now for Detroit. I'm sorry.
It really is. And they're in Madison Square Garden. But you know what? Upset alert, upset alert, upset alert. I'm going with the Pistons on the road to beat the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden. I can already see Kev and all them New York Knicks fans. I could already see them like they about to be at me. But yeah, I got the Detroit Pistons on the road for this upset.
Okay.
Brooklyn Nets versus the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. Who you got?
Memphis.
Neither team is really good.
Memphis. I could see Brooklyn still winning, but
I see
I'm
Brooklyn.
gonna go Memphis.
I'm gonna go Brooklyn because number one, no team is the underdog in this game, and for two, Jacques Vaughn just got fired, so I feel like those boys is about to come out and try to play for Jacques. So I got Brooklyn. My Miami Heat on the road tonight against Sacramento Kings. Who you got?
Kings.
I'm going with my Heat. Obvious
Didn't
reasons.
matter that.
Obvious reasons. I got to go with the Heat. I think that even though we're missing a lot of players, I think we're still good enough to get the job done. We play really, really well without star players. Like Coach Spo, he has a way of designing a game plan whenever a really good player is missing that we can still hang in there and give ourselves a chance to win. So I got Miami. Tomorrow, we got a full slate of games tomorrow, starting with Dallas at Cleveland Cavs. Who you got?
That was tough. I like both of these teams, so I'm gonna go Cavs. My heart's telling me the Cavs.
I'm going with the home team also. I'm going with the Cleveland Cavs. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell is in the rotation though, because he missed the last game. So I don't know about that.
Tomorrow.
I might have to adjust that pick depending on if Donovan plays or not. But if Donovan plays, I'm going Cleveland for sure.
It's gonna be tough. I'm gonna go Cleveland too though.
All right. Brooklyn at Orlando. I'm going with Orlando in that one. Who you got?
Orlando.
All right. Agreed. Golden State Warriors at the Washington Wizards. I got Golden State. Who you got?
Warriors.
Golden State Warriors. Utah Jazz on the road in Atlanta.
I'm going Hawks.
I'm going with Atlanta Hawks too. It's still Black History Month, and all them Mormons coming into Atlanta. I think they might get a little spooked. You see all them brothers, all them black faces in there. So I'm going with ATL. Philly Sixers on the road against the Boston Celtics on TNT. That's a televised game.
Boston.
I like Boston. Jason Tatum right now is just on another level. He's playing out of his mind. So I got the Boston Celtics. I don't think Philly gonna have enough. New Orleans Pelicans on the road in New York City. Who you got?
Knicks.
I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I'm gonna go with the Knicks on that one too. San Antonio Spurs on the road in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I'm going with the T-Wolves also. Detroit Pistons on the road.
They traveling.
Going across the whatever that ocean is to Chicago. What's that ocean that separates it?
I don't know.
It's a river or something. I don't know, something. But anyway, they're going across whatever to go play the Chicago Bulls. And neither team is really impressive right now. But I'm going to take Chicago.
I'm going to go Bulls. They've been playing a little bit better recently.
They have been. They've been a little bit better. So yeah, I can agree with you on that. All right, next one. Charlotte Hornets against I don't even know who. I already know who.
Bucks, baby. Let's
get.
Yes, sir.
I got Milwaukee in that one too. Houston Rockets on the road against OKC. OKC, I'm with them. That's the second game of the doubleheader, by the way. That's on TNT. So I like OKC. And then last but not least, that very last matchup that we have is the Miami Heat on the road against the Portland Jailbreakers. The Portland Trailblazers, I'm sorry. I like my Heat to win that game. Who do you got?
I'm going to go Miami.
You going Miami on that one too? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, it looks like we pretty much had the same picks. Just a couple of picks that we didn't agree on was the New York game against Detroit, and then also Brooklyn and Memphis. I think everything else we were pretty much spot on with. So y'all check, drop in the comments.
Yeah.
Those
see
games
how this plays out.
Yeah, see how it play out. Drop in the comments. Look at what's coming on tomorrow. And then some of y'all fans and y'all viewers, put your picks in the comments also so we can see how they stack up against yours truly and my man TZD. So that's what we've got for y'all this episode. This was a really, really dope episode. I'm really, really excited about the rest of the NBA season.
Yes.
Things are really starting to shape up now.
I've been locked in. You hear me out here?
Yeah.
I've been locked in on every game.
My man is completely locked in over there. So we expect some really dope takes from Time Zone Dave and from yours truly. We're going to have some really, really good stuff for y'all next week. Salute also to my man Trey Tarpley, MMA fighter. Those of you expecting to see him today, he wasn't able to make it. A lot of things going on. He's training, he's preparing, and he just got a little tied up and busy. So we're going to reserve a slot for him to come back and come and join us next time.
Yeah, sure.
But thank everybody out there for continuing to support. Keep on hitting the subscribe. Keep on hitting the like. That like button, like TZD said. Also hit the share button. Continue to show love for us. We out here doing our thing. And again, we always supporting those who's out there trying to make their own way for themselves. KE Creations, Gene Hennigan, Good Life Clothing. These are all independent bosses, and we all out here trying to do what we love doing. So the only way that we're going to blow up and become successful is if we support each other. So that's what we're doing out here. We're just going to continue to support one another and continue to show love. I really got nothing else to go on. TZD, any parting words?
Bucks and 6. Bucks and 6. Warriors and 6.
Let's go Heat. Let's go Heat. We got a good game coming on tonight, Miami Heat and Sacramento Kings. So I'm going to be tuned in, about to lock in. And also, my Hurricanes are playing against North Carolina Tar Heels right about now, so I'm about to jump into that. But thanks, everybody, again for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hit that like button, that share button. Let's do it.
Let's run it up. This is the Sports Time Zone, and we are out.
Sure.